Hello and a warm welcome to Goal Line Gossip. This is the much dejected Jishmeister representing Arsenal today. We have Saul here with us, who is a supporter of Manchester United, and we have the Bong Scouse, who is a lifelong Liverpool fan. About whether Manchester City is back to their very best, because it seems like they are. They're it's like no stopping them. I don't see which team is going to be stopping them. If not Bayern Munich, if not the very best in the Premier League, who else?
You should be
right?
saying Arsenal, but okay.
Yeah, well, listen, right now I'm not in the best of states, and I don't feel that confident. I got stage fear right now.
See how things change in just 1 week. That's
No,
the
that's
Premier
true.
League.
That's true. That's true. And we're going to be talking more about Arsenal and what I feel went wrong.
I said it before last game. Last game I said, right? I said it after in that Liverpool game. Arsenal looked really nervous, and that actually changed the momentum. That one game was just enough because that created doubts in that squad. Okay, it's a young squad.
Right, Bong Scouse,
Okay,
we're going to talk about Arsenal in a different segment. Let's wrap
Okay.
up on Manchester City here. Do you see them dropping any points at all? And I can run the fixture by you guys, both Saul and Bong Scouser, and tell me if you guys think they're going to be dropping any points from here on. Okay, so next up, they're going to be playing Arsenal at the Etihad. Do you guys see points being dropped at that game?
No,
We're
I
talking
don't
about the
think so.
Premier League, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I
So-
don't think so. I don't think so. No.
Okay. And what do you think about the next game after that, right after that is going to be...
See, I don't need to see the fixture list. It doesn't count for me. Honestly.
Okay, so
I don't see.
you're uber
I
confident-
don't need to see the fixture list. I think if there's one team that can stop Manchester City, that's Real Madrid. So if they are stopped, they are going to be stopped in the Champions League, not in the Premier League. Premier League, they are winning it.
No, it's not about winning or losing. I'm right now talking about whether out of the 27 possible points in the next 9 Premier League games, do you see them getting 27 points, all 27 points, confidently?
No, I don't
See,
think so. I mean, it depends on some of the other fixtures, outside the Premier League. So number one is definitely
that's
Champions
true.
League. So if they qualify, there's going to be 2 Real Madrid matches sandwiched between the Leeds, Everton, or the Chelsea match against City, right? So they might lose some points there. We also have to consider that they are in the FA Cup as well. So if they beat, they're playing against, I think, Sheffield this weekend. So if they win it, and if we win it, Manchester United, then we'll have a final as well. So again, maybe Pep might deprioritize FA Cup altogether and just focus on Champions League and the Premier League. But then again, these are big matches, like Real Madrid and Manchester United, and they're going to be sandwiched between some of these fixtures.
And there's
that
another
might-
game against Brighton that is to be rescheduled.
It's got postponed. Yeah,
Manchester-
you're
yep,
absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I sort of feel like the Everton match at
Goodison.
at Goodison, that might be one of those matches that is after or in between the 2 Real Madrid matches, or before the Manchester United match, where he might have to shuffle some players again, and that might be an opportunity for them to drop some points. But definitely, I think the next Premier League match against Arsenal, that should be the match that is probably going to decide what's going to happen, whether you guys can keep a healthy lead, or whether they're just going to be on your tail, like trying to grab your throat or something.
Right.
Just to add on to what Saul said, I think a lot depends on Arsenal as well. If Arsenal keep dropping points, I think we'll come to a stage where Manchester City could possibly be ahead of Arsenal by, let's say, 6 to 8 points in the next in the next 5 to 6 games. They could be ahead 6 to 8 points. So
but Bong Scouse, in order for that to happen, because by the time we play next against Manchester City, we are also playing Southampton the next weekend, right? So, and that's at home at the Emirates. I'm not expecting us to lose that game. I know that we've had a couple of draws here, and that's definitely a setback at this point of the season. Getting a point means nothing; it feels like a loss. But I don't see us losing to Southampton. They're bottom place, and at the Emirates, I don't see us losing that game. By the time we're going to be facing Manchester City the week after, we're most likely going to be 7 points ahead. And obviously, if they beat us, it's 4 points. But in order for them to overcome those 4 points and them to be 6 to 8 points ahead, that's a jump of 10 points. You mean to say that we could be potentially losing Manchester City and the following two games as well? That's the only way. Well, following three games. That's the only way. That's 4 games on the trot. You see Arsenal losing in order for them to be 6 to 8 points ahead of us.
No, I mean, see, you are playing Southampton. Okay, Southampton are no pushovers. Okay, they
No.
might be bottom of the league, but they are a relegation threatened team. And
Mhm.
from what we Southampton have been in this position, before. Okay, so they are not going to go down without a fight.
Of
I
course
know
not.
Arsenal's
No, I
playing
agree.
at home. I know Arsenal's playing at home, but Arsenal don't look that confident to me. So
Right.
if you were telling me that Arsenal will roll over Southampton, that's not happening.
Right, but what about Manchester City? This segment belongs to Manchester City. You think they're going to get 27 out of 27 points, realistically
Uh,
speaking?
They can,
so
and that's scary.
they can,
Of course they can.
yeah,
Of
they
course
can.
they can.
So I think
They
that's
are
the
they are in
answer.
the mood.
I mean,
They don't
they
look like
can
dropping points.
Okay.
exactly.
All right. All right. No,
And
that's great,
uh,
guys. Sorry. So go ahead, Bounce Causer. You're saying something.
no, that's okay. So I had the same point. I think Manchester City are in the mood. So the momentum is clearly with them, like I said, and I think Arsenal can't really stop them. I think
Hmm.
City are playing in a league of their own. So it's
Well,
City's title to lose for
well,
me.
the fixtures that are difficult in terms of this potential for dropping points of Manchester City are Arsenal at the Etihad. Don't don't mock at me, but Chelsea at the Etihad, Brighton and Brentford and Everton away at Goodison, at Brentford's
We are
home.
talking about Manchester City here. We are not talking about Arsenal.
No, I understand. Listen, this right now.
We are not
Listen,
talking about Arsenal. We are talking about Manchester City,
I
who
I
are in
get it.
who are in the best shape that I have ever seen them play.
But out of these 5 games, can you tell me, hand on your heart, you're absolutely certain Manchester City is not dropping any points? Arsenal and Chelsea at home, and Brentford, Brighton, and Everton away. You don't see them dropping any points at all, not
No,
even a single
no,
game.
I don't see them dropping points.
Okay.
Not at this
Well,
stage of the season.
well, then in that case, it's most likely going to be 27 out of 27 points for them. And then there's no way we're catching them. They're probably going to end at 98, 99 points. Yeah, we're not definitely stopping them. So yeah, I mean, I think just because we've spoken about Manchester City at length right now, it makes more sense to talk about Arsenal, the team that's challenging them. And it seems like everything is ending for us. And it seems like we're crumbling under pressure. I'm going to take this question to Saul, um, and to give me some comments. I'm having brain farts right now. What do you think? Are we truly crumbling under pressure here?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. That penalty missed by Saka, I think that says it all. We saw something similar in the Euros as well, the Euro final, where I think Sancho and Rashford
And
missed as
Rashford,
well.
yeah.
Uh, it's kind of like like what Bong Scouser was saying. It's a young team. They have the heart, but at the end of the day, they don't have the experience, right? And same with their manager as well. And the pressure is on, because you guys scored like 2 goals within the first 10 minutes, so it should be one of those games where you should just see it off. I mean, it shouldn't come to a point where it's 2-2, right?
Mhm.
I know some that penalty giveaway by Gabriel. I think that's silly. I mean, I know that he can't do anything, and the striker is probably going to take a shot, but there was no need to commit there. And also from a goalkeeping point of view, last week we were talking about how great Ramsdale is, and he's still great. But that second goal, he should be saving
Yeah,
that, by his
yeah.
standards. So there's always like an expectation mismatch. Players who are supposed to score are missing penalties. Gabriel, who's supposed to be the one of the better defenders of this season,
Shouldn't be conceding
still
such a
mistakes,
penalty.
and Ramsdale being Ramsdale, it's not making the save. So just from those three, I would say that Arteta and his men, they are under a lot of pressure, and it's catching. It's catching like a virus, and it's gonna. You know what scares me the most when I look at your next games. I know that you're playing Southampton, but then you have City, you have Chelsea, you have Newcastle, you have Brighton. Those four games are very big games against really good teams. I mean, forget about Chelsea, but those are four big games. And then you have Nottingham Forest, again, a relegation fighting team. They're probably going to put all of it there. Uh, and then you have Wolves as well. So Wolves is a little, although you're playing in
Yeah.
Emirates, but,
Mhm.
they're
I think
winning games.
except for that Wolves game, all the teams that you're playing with have something to play for. That is scary. That is scary
Chelsea
for
has
us.
Chelsea has nothing to play for.
They have to
Right.
play for pride.
They have
They
to
have to
play
play for
for
pride.
Lampard. They have to play for
Okay,
Lampard and Todd
we're gonna
Bowley.
They
we're gonna
cannot
talk
they
about
cannot
Chelsea in a
afford
bit.
to they cannot afford to finish below the top 10. That would be
Exactly.
harassment
Yeah.
for the club and the fans.
Even for someone like Lampard, he's been hired to be a fan favorite and
Listen, hold your
to
thoughts about
do it
Chelsea, guys. Hold
emotionally,
your
right?
thoughts. We're going to be talking about Chelsea
Okay.
in a different segment. So, yeah, speaking about Arsenal, I have a few key takeaways here that I kind of noted, during the game that I wanted to just talk about a bit. I've noticed in the past couple of games, especially in the Liverpool and Arsenal game, once we go 2-0 up, it's almost like, these kids, most of them are, 21, 22-year olds. They're thinking in their head, we cannot lose this. They're under so much pressure that they're
Yeah.
thinking, we cannot lose this. And I've seen them, typically Arsenal, without pressure, they're a flamboyant team that does not,
Exactly.
fear anybody. But what has happened both in the Anfield game and today is after scoring those two goals, they held on to the ball, longer. Um, they were not really trying those risky passes just in case they get overturned or something. They didn't want to lose possession, but it's the oldest story in the book of football. The only way you can defend is by the best method of defending is by offend in the offense. We are not doing that, and the the second takeaway that I have seen is with Saliba missing and Rob Holding, playing the past three or
Yeah.
four games,
Exactly.
and Zinchenko missing today, and Tierney playing, the back four, even with the Liverpool game, even though Zinchenko played, with Rob Holding right there, Ramsdale and the other players surrounding them, they don't feel sure. They're not playing out the
Exactly.
back as confidently anymore. And it
That's
scares me,
correct.
honestly. And because of these two players today, Tierney in the left and Rob Holding in the right hand side of the center back, players like Ben White's getting affected, players like Thomas Partey's getting affected, Xhaka's getting affected, Martinelli's getting affected for the Tierney role, and Ramsdale's getting affected, and Gabriel is getting affected. We're losing that swagger. And there's a statistic that I just went through on Opta. It is that while Saliba was playing, we were conceding at 0.92 goals per match average conceding. Since Holding started, we are conceding at 1.56. So obviously we're conceding more goals. We're not as certain as sure at the back. And we all know, Rob Holdings is not even a has-been. I cannot even call him a has-been. He has never been. And he needs to be, shipped out. And we just haven't found the right suitor. We're
Yeah.
waiting for
Yeah.
the contract to end. And so this is another thing that I've noticed. The last thing, and this is supremely important, if you look at all the games where we have dropped points, and I know you guys may not be as big into fantasy Premier League or something, but if you look at Saka's contribution to the matches, Southampton away, we dropped points. We dropped points at Manchester United away. We dropped points against Newcastle at home. We dropped points against West Ham today. We dropped points against Liverpool away. I think these are and Manchester City at home. If you look at
Back home.
all the games, Bukayo Saka has not had a contribution in either in terms of goals or assists. And even today, I'm not sure if you guys watched the match or not. Bukayo Saka typically threatens to go past people when left and right. He
Yeah.
will, he's not doing that for the past three games. Leeds, even though we beat Leeds 4-1, he did not play well. Then Liverpool, three consecutive games, he looks like he's jaded, he's tired, he's the one who looks crumbling under the pressure. And the reason I'm saying this is because without Saka playing well, other opposition teams don't feel scared of us as much because usually Saka's double down, sometimes triple down upon when he's on song. The past three games he's not, and I'm noticing Liverpool and today West Ham did not have two men on him, and that automatically makes the game more difficult for us. So these were the things that I really paid attention to, and I think if this does not get resolved come the Southampton game, and by the time we face Manchester City, if Saliba's not back and Zinchenko's going to be back, we know that. Um, I have a feeling that we're definitely not winning the league, and right now City are the favorites for sure. But if these things kind of get addressed, if Saka gets back on form, if Saliba's back and well rested and playing the game, and Zinchenko's back, at the left back position playing the inverted left back role, I think we could again get back to our bet. But otherwise, these are the things that I.
But the key question here is: do you think it is a case of performance, or do you think it's the mentality?
I think it's
what
a
do you
combination
think
of
is
both.
coming in Arsenal?
I think it's a combination of both because listen. Here's the thing: you want to go for a presentation to the best, to the biggest ever meeting to land the biggest ever contract for a project, let's say, right? And you go in with you're already in a lot of pressure. You know that you got to land this project. This is gonna make or break your entire company's lifespan. But then again, you hear that the best performers or some of the key performers in your team who's going to be joining you in that meeting, they're missing. It's going to have an impact, right? You're already under a lot of stress and pressure. Now you're going to feel less confidence, and that is why we are holding onto the ball longer, because we don't have confidence in the Rob Holdings and the Tierneys.
Exactly.
I'm not saying Tierney's a bad player, but he just doesn't fit the system. He does not. He's getting the ball. Today I saw the match. Holding and him, they're getting the ball, they're passing back to Ramsdale. They do not have the ability to have the ball and see which passes on.
No,
Because
I would not agree on Tierney, because I think the thing with Tierney is that he has got that ability, but the thing is that he's not played enough. So I think somewhere down the line he feels a bit rusty and not very confident. But with Holding, yeah, I can totally understand. From the Liverpool game, I saw the same thing, because he is a no nonsense defender. He cannot. He's not a ball playing defender. The only thing he can do is he can clear the balls, and he brings a lot of reliability in that defense. But the style that Arsenal are playing in, I think he's not fit to play in that back foot, and he's the one who's creating a lot of problems for sure.
100%.
And also, there's one more thing I find missing in that Arsenal team is a leader. Although Martin Odegaard is a leader, I don't think there's anyone really, whenever the shoulders are dropping, there's no one, to shout at people and say that, okay, we can come back in this game. There's no one really to control that team on the field. And that's another thing that I found it in that Arsenal team. These guys are like too young, and I don't think there's any sort of leadership in that team.
And it's not just about leadership. You mentioned having control, right? One of the players in your team, like Jishmeister, who had a crap game, is Thomas Partey.
Yeah, he was so bad. He has been bad for the past 4 or 5 games.
And he's always been that that guy, the Stonewall midfielder who's been making sure that the enemy team or the rival team, they cannot go forward. And he's also been pivotal into making those plays from the defense to the forward lines, whether it's going to the wings and Saka, or helping Odegaard go forward, or on the left hand side. And I think that's one of the reasons why look at the number of interceptions that West Ham had. It's way more than Arsenal, right? And that's one of the reasons, because
so that's what we can talk about, a number of problems. The problem we can talk about a number of problems.
I agree,
but I think it's down to the mentality of the team.
Mentality, obviously, that aside, that is obviously there. We are under tremendous pressure, and these kids have never been in the situation ever in their lives. However, the chain reaction, let me just quickly give you an example. Tierney is somebody who's great at bombing forward and putting in crosses. He's phenomenal. He's probably comparable to Robertson in terms of his zip and crosses in. but he's never good at breaking lines and coming into the center and playing that you know um, metronomic
Inverted.
central midfielder
Yeah.
role that Zinchenko
Inverted.
plays.
Yeah.
Exactly. And what happens is today Tierney, when he was coming into that inverted role, Partey was not feeling any confidence. He did not have a Rob Holding to pass to, obviously. So that's two roles beside him. Typically, Xhaka is somebody that is playing the Odegaard role on the other side. He's very high up the pitch. If
But
Zinchenko is
isn't that the fault of the manager? But isn't that the fault of the manager? He should know the player's strengths, right? And he should tweak his system to play
he
it in
should,
the
I
way that
agree.
fits the players at hand.
Listen, coming from a Liverpool fan, I think you know how it feels when your manager does
Yeah,
not like to tweak
of course.
systems. Now,
Yeah.
I completely get you. He should be tweaking his system to play to Tierney's strengths and not to his weaknesses.
Look
Because
what Pep's doing. That's why Pep is the best
exactly,
manager in the world.
100%, 100%. The way Pep Guardiola tweaks. Sorry, I was like, I've got something, got a lisp there.
Pepe,
Um,
Pepe.
yeah, yeah. The way Pep Guardiola, constantly adapts himself. We thought that he was probably going to flunk badly with Erling Haaland. I definitely thought so. If not the others, I thought he was going to flunk. The way he's been playing and adapted to the systems and everything, he is, he's out of the world as a manager. He's
Yeah.
unrivaled. And the day Manchester City loses him, whether to the end of the contract or Pep decides to move on or whatever, they're definitely going to miss on him. But I just want to talk about the next topic here, how important William Saliba is. And we kind of touched upon it when we were talking about Rob Holding a bit. How important do you think Saliba is? Because I wanted to give you that statistic about, how, the defensive numbers kind of look like with or without Saliba. What do you think, Bong Scouser? How important is Saliba to this team?
Yeah, when we were discussing Gabriel, I think Saul mentioned that he's been the best player this season. But we must remember that, centre backs tend to play well when they have a reliable partner. Okay. And that's exactly what Saliba has been doing this season. So he's although, Gabriel is the one who's, been at the end of the crosses, he scored goals, he's had more impact, visible impact on the team. But Saliba has been equally important as well. He's been very
100%.
reliable, hardly made any mistakes all season. I don't think he's made a single mistake in the season, right?
He did.
I'm not,
He conceded a silly penalty against, I don't quite recall. We probably won that game against Bournemouth, if I'm not wrong.
okay,
But
okay.
either way, he did. But
Yeah,
even
I
then,
mean, yeah, he is very reliable. And like I said, they don't have Arsenal, they don't have a player to replace him at the moment.
we
I
don't.
think holding is not the answer to the centre back vacancy that has been created. But I think there is no one really, and so that's where without Saliba, I think Arsenal are going to be struggling.
100%. And Saliba is a very good, probably one of the best ball playing center backs in the world. He's
Yeah, yeah.
really good at that. But Saul, what do you think? We are hoping, just Arsenal fans, and Arteta has already mentioned it. He's expected to play for the Manchester City game. He probably will not be
He has to.
starting. Yeah, he has to. Yeah, but what do you think? With Saliba back, do you think there's going to be a major difference in our mentality and our performances?
There should be. I mean, even if he's like not 100% fit, I think he should play that game again based off, you know, the stability that he brings to the team. The options that he can give Arteta in terms of the play style. And again, like when you're asking, is he the main guy? It's sort of like the same question that we did with is Manchester United Casemiro FC? No, and I think like as a team, when you're trying to win the title, the Premier League, you cannot depend on one player, one style, to just throughout the tournament because you're going to get found out. Teams are going to figure you out, and of course, you're going to have injuries and suspensions. That's always there, but when you're trying to, when you're trying to go for the title, you need backups in squad depth, definitely. And if you don't have that, you need to have some different styles of playing, maybe
Right.
more defensively or maybe three at the back or something like that. And I don't think Arsenal have that. So
We don't.
it's out
And
of
you
that.
guys do
We need
realize that
somebody to-
our recruitment project is still not done. We need one more summer one more summer to get our bench sorted so that we have a strong
Of course,
enough,
yeah, yeah.
15, 16 player thing, which we probably going to have. And it seems like it could very well be the Liverpool 17-18 season where they, came in second, I think, with 91 points. Was it the 17-18 season or was it the 18-19 season, I think?
18-19 season. Yeah.
Yeah, the season that you
18.
guys won the Champions League, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's the season you guys came second, and it feels similar to me, and I have a feeling that
But
even
you're not going to win the Champions League. You don't have a Mane, a Fabinho, a
we
Firmino, a
don't,
Salah.
but we are getting better. You cannot say this,
Yeah,
and if
what I'm trying
anybody's,
to say is that
No, but
in the next season, you need to spend well and spend
we
well
will,
on
we
big
will.
players,
We
like
are linked
world class
heavily.
players. You
no,
cannot you cannot
but I
sign players
cannot.
like Fabio Vieira and say that
No,
he's
agree.
gonna do it.
No,
These
agree,
sort of
agree. No,
players.
we are linked with, we are going to be back in the Champions League. That's for sure. We need one more point to make sure that we actually got that 1 point today. So we are already in the Champions League. That's done and dusted. I don't see how we're not going to be spending. Our budget's going to increase by 50 million anyway for the group stage games
And
automatically. So
it's not just about spending, right? It's also about
spending wisely.
association. It's also about attracting the right player
But
because
we have
this
proven
is
that, Saul.
no,
We
but
have already
here's the
proved that our
thing.
recruitment is really good.
This is one of those transfer markets where there's going to be a lot of number nines, like whether it's in Harry Kane or Osimhen or Ferguson. You have players who are super young.
Goncalo. What's that guy from Benfica?
Goncalo
Goncalo.
Guedes, Goncalo Guedes,
No, not Guedes. Not Guedes. The guy from
Goncalo
Benfica who's
Ramos,
playing very good.
Goncalo
Ramos.
Ramos,
Yes,
Ramos, yeah,
yes.
yeah. So
Ollie
there's so many
Watkins.
players in different
Yeah, Ollie
tiers, right?
Watkins. What a player. That's that guy is really
Yeah,
amazing.
that's what I'm trying to say. If
Superb.
you spend the whole transfer window trying to get Ollie Watkins and get him, I don't think that's the signing that Arsenal needs. Arsenal needs
No,
something like a Harry Kane or an Osimhen if they want to keep this up, if they want to keep
No,
challenging for
Watkins.
the league.
I think Watkins is equally good. Trust
no,
me.
he is.
Watkins can do. When I used to watch Watkins,
For Brentford,
last few seasons,
he used to play
he
for
could do
Brentford
all.
in the Championship. I remember he used to
Yeah,
bang
he
in
could do
goals.
almost everything except that he was not a natural goal scorer. He never finished his moves. And
Now
But he
he
now
doesn't
is.
have the
this season
mentality.
he
He
is.
he does not have the mentality to finish top four or challenge the Premier League. This is the guy who got
That is
Stevie G
questionable.
sacked.
He's not got his
This is the
chance.
guy who
He's
got
not got
Stevie
his
G
chance.
sacked. Yeah,
Listen,
but he had a thing with the manager, right? I mean, you cannot expect him to compete against the Austrians and the Canes of the world.
no, I completely agree. The last topic at hand to discuss for Arsenal is it all on the heavyweight clash that we're expecting? I believe it's on the 26th, the weekend after this coming weekend, at the Etihad Stadium, Manchester City going one-on-one against Arsenal. It's going to be, a headliner fixture for sure for the season. It's probably going to be the biggest match. All eyes are going to be on this match for sure. What do you think, Saul? What's going to transpire at that game?
I'm not sure. I think it's going to be an excellent game for the neutral fan because, you know, top two teams. These are the only two teams that seemed like winning the title throughout the season, and it was never Manchester United. For some of you who thought it was Manchester United,
It was.
but no, it was never Manchester United. But anyways, like speaking of this clash, I think as a neutral fan, I want it to be one of those games which is like entertaining from minute one to the last whistle, because it is sort of set up in a way that it's at the end of the season. Of course, after this, you probably gonna have a few more matches to play, but then this is gonna be where Arteta goes back home, and it's Etihad, where
Home.
he.
Now,
Yes,
Emirates
I mean,
is his
okay,
home.
okay, fine. He's got a new home, but
Not now.
that's where he started
he's
his
he
managerial, you know, uh,
yeah, agree.
learnings. So
Yeah.
he's the Padawan. He was the Padawan there, and now he's like sort of like a Jedi or something. Sorry for the Star Wars reference, but anyways, so yeah, it's going to be a big thing for Arteta to go and get some points, even if it's a draw, like get that 1 point there
Oh,
or
that'd be
try and
huge.
win, right?
If we get a
And
draw, it would feel like a win. Trust me, for
and
Arsenal
Pep
fans.
being Pep, he knows very well how important this match is. Well, I'm pretty sure in the press conference he's going to say something very controversial, or he's going to start with the mind game saying, "Oh, Arsenal should definitely win this. We are nobody. We are
I know.
nobody."
I so
and
see it happening. I so see it happening. Uh, my belief is that we are going to be losing, and we're going to be losing bad. I'll tell you why.
Yeah, yeah. I
It's
I feel the same.
Yeah, but
I
I'll give
feel
you
the
the
same.
reasoning, and I'll let you answer this question as well, Bounce Causa. But let me just tell you why I feel this. It's because Arteta knows that we only need a draw in terms of keeping them at that 3 point distance, right? If we both get a point, that distance stays on. We do not need a win, and the players are gonna have that same mentality. And I see Arsenal going 1 or 2 goals ahead again at the Etihad. We will score first. You will see. What's going to happen is going to be similar to the Anfield game. We're going to sit back thinking, no, we cannot be, I'm sorry, the Pong Scouts are going to drop there. Right there. He's back. So I truly believe that we're going to be scoring first. And what's going to happen is going to be very similar to what happened at the Anfield. And we're going to get super scared. The pressure is going to get onto us. We're going to start defending as early as 30, 40 minutes.
But that is not acceptable.
It's not. And then let me land here. And if we do that, City is going to eat us alive. That blue shark is going to eat us alive, and we're going to be conceding. It's going to be a 4-2 or 5-1 or something of that sort because of our sitting back mentality. However, if Arteta decides that we're going to take the game to them, if we have Zinchenko playing, we have Saliba playing in our first team playing, and Saka's on song. If we take the game to them, we have a better chance of getting a draw, in my opinion, than trying to contain Manchester City in this form. This is my opinion. But Bongs Kauser, what do you think?
No, I think Arsenal are going to be beaten, and there's absolutely very little chance that Arsenal can go there and win. If it was at the Emirates, I would have said Arsenal could have a chance. But since it's at the Etihad and in the kind of mood that City are in, I think Arsenal don't have a chance there.
But
Very
how do you see
honestly.
the game playing out? I get the result, I get it. But how do you see the
Okay,
game playing
so
out?
so I think the scoreline will be heavily in the favor of City. So I think I kind of predict at least a 2 or 3 goal, you know, margin of win for City,
That's going to be
because
embarrassing for Arsenal.
yeah, because the kind we are seeing it, we are seeing, and once that those doubts settle in to the minds of the players, it's very difficult to turn it around, and that's going to be a huge test for Arteta. If Arteta can really, if Arsenal can come back next week and beat Southampton, 4-0, 5-0, then I could change my mind. But uh, from what I've seen after that Liverpool game, there are very little signs that Arsenal can really turn it around.
But
But let's see.
we are starting off like European locomotive. Every game in the first 10-20 minutes, we are both the games we're 2-0 up. So it's folly on our players and then the manager to sit back after that. um do you,
Yeah, that's
so
what. That's what.
do you
And
think
and
if
that
we take the
temptation is
game to
going to be
Manchester
there.
City?
That
Yes.
temptation is going to be there at the Etihad because of the form that City are in. That
Mhm.
temptation is going to be there. That let's just play it safe
Right, but
and get that 1 point.
let's not kid ourselves. Manchester City's defense is no brick wall that it cannot be broken. For sure. That we have already seen all season. And the way Arsenal play, for sure we're gonna score goals. That's not even in contention, trust me. It's not gonna be a clean sheet
But
home
are you
run.
going to get the ball? Are you going to get the ball in the mood that City are in? The
Hmm.
number of chances they are creating. You
Hmm.
should see that Bayern game and see how City have played in the midfield. In the
Agreed.
big games, they sort of have a different gear about them. And
Hmm.
that's the thing about City. And I'm sure if this is an important game for them, and they're going to come out there and they are going to have a different gear about them. And I'm sure I don't know Arsenal. I just don't think that they will have enough of the ball. If Arsenal have to
I
win, they have to win on the counter, and
I
that
don't
is
think
their
so.
probably their own chance.
I don't think Arsenal are this year's Arsenal is not a, a team that plays great on the counter. It is more a team
But
that
this month's Arsenal is.
sorry? Right.
I'm
No, no.
saying this month's Arsenal
No,
is
this month's Arsenal is not great at counters. They have been playing counter football after the 30th or 40th minute. Doesn't mean that they're great at it. They clearly suck at it. But I'll just remind you one thing. The last time we played Manchester City at our home, we had about 75% possession. So it was probably a Pep Guardiola masterclass. I get it. But I see a similar thing happening. Our team right now has better intricacy. I know Manchester City has gotten better. I don't think it's
no
going to be
way.
I certainly
Hmm.
this is my opinion. We're going to have more possession against Manchester City
No way, no way. Man.
unless
I,
we
I,
decide to to fall back. We're going to have more possession, just the way the Liverpool game happened. Don't think that Liverpool had more possession in the last 45-50 minutes because of their ability. For sure, it was the mentality of weakness that crept in with the players and the manager, that they felt like, we got a two goal lead, we're going to sit back and defend. Similar things probably going to be happening. This is my spoiler prediction. We're going to score first, 1 or 2 goals, probably going to be 2-1 or 2-0 or something, and we're going to sit back, and that's going to be the end of our game right there. But let's move on
But
to
just to add to that, I mean,
yeah.
doesn't it like feel like the last two games that Arsenal played, right? I mean, they've already seen what happened, so I expect something better from Arsenal.
I hope
right?
so. I hope so. I
And
truly
this
hope
is
so.
again like Arteta going back to Etihad. He's the only one in the Premier League who should know what Pep is like, how he trains, or what's his style like. You have Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus, who are ex-Man City players, and this is where they should all kick in.
And
You've
Jesus is
been
in
making,
phenomenal
but
been
form.
you know what?
making you've been making Amazon
Arteta,
DVDs. You've been making Amazon DVDs all or nothing. Make them watch that. Make them watch that before the game.
No,
This
you're
is a
right.
game that
but
decides.
you know what? But Arsenal, but what I've seen of Arteta is not the result-oriented kind of manager. Okay,
He's not. He's
if this
not.
was a Mourinho, if this was a Mourinho, what he would have molded his team in a way to play City. Okay, but Arteta is not that kind of manager.
He's gonna play
He
his
is a
style,
very
his own style.
style-oriented. Yes, he's a style.
He's
He's a
like
playing
Klopp. He's like
style-oriented
Jurgen
manager.
Klopp. He's very Jurgen
Yeah,
Klopp.
yeah. So
Similar.
he's not going to tweak his game to play City for
And
sure.
and Arteta is making major blunders today. Okay, like uh,
Yeah,
Saka is not in form. He played him till the 90th minute, and he took off Gabriel Jesus at 62nd
Gabriel
uh,
is yes,
when
right.
when Gabby Jesus has 4 goals in 3 games. He
Yeah,
should
but
be
I don't
doing
think
that.
he's no. But I think he's just saving him for for next weekend or the
We
next
have
match.
one game
I
a
don't
week.
think he's
What
100%
the
fit. I don't think he's 100%
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
fit.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't think
coming off
Gabriel
an
Jesus
injury.
can play 90
Yeah,
minutes, and you
probably
cannot risk that before the City match.
maybe
that's
probably.
true. That